Hello and welcome everybody to the Tournament Center. I am Paul Chung, joined here by Marcio Carvalho. He's currently sitting at 7-1. Of course he 3-0'd the limited portion because he is a limited master, but we're going to actually be doing a deck tech in Constructed, and to nobody's surprise, you're playing an aggressive deck.
Yeah, you know
right,
me.
Right. So you're kind of known as a limited specialist, but even in constructed formats, you tend to play aggressive decks. Do you think, all of your skills in limited apply more when you play a more creature-centric deck?
Yeah, because if I play more creatures, there's more combat steps, so it resembles more limited than the other decks. So I normally play like aggressive decks or mid-rangey decks.
Do you think that, again, just that's kind of one of your biggest strengths, just combat and just knowing? Because I remember I saw you play this insane game earlier against Christopher Larson where, there were just like 15 creatures on the battlefield and you still managed to figure out exactly enough to win.
It was close, it was close.
All right, so you are playing Azorius Aggro. Let's take a look at the one-drops. I have a very complicated sheet here in terms of what we're going to go with. We're going to start with the one-drops here. 4 copies of Dauntless Bodyguard, 4 copies of Sky Marcher Aspirant. Every aggressive white deck's going to be playing those 1-mana 2/1s. Snubhorn Sentry and Legion's Landing. This is kind of the same base that we've had all along. This is kind of a card that first nobody was playing, but why are people playing a bunch of Snubhorn Sentries in their white aggressive decks?
This card is very good against mono red. So, and it's your best one drop when you curve perfectly because it becomes a 3/3 or a 4/4. You had other options playing Entered Witness or Healer's Oak, but Healer's Oak I was not very psyched to play because everyone was on Crawler Pooner because of mono blue. So I didn't want to go Healer's Oak and I got Crawler Pooner and my Healer's Oak, and I'm like, no.
I see. So you went for the Snubhorn Sentry here. And this is actually a little bit less than the tip. I think older lists in the past have played something like 18 ones, but you're actually just playing with the 16. Have you noticed the big difference there, or is that just
I noticed because some games you have so many one drops, then when you don't draw like your Venerable Oxodons or Bnauish Marshal, your cards resemble limited, like 1/1. You're drawing 1/1s.
Right.
And you need a little more punch, and I added some 2 drops to give me a little more punch.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, especially because all of these cards are just like always good cards, whereas Hunted Witness can be a little embarrassing sometimes. All right, moving on to, no surprise, the 2 drops here. And we have a new card here. We have, of course, 2 copies of Adanto Vanguard and 4 copies of Tytaker. Now, before, this was the card that everybody goes, this guy is so hard to deal with. Everybody played 4 copies. Why did you play Tytaker over 4 copies of Adanto?
Tytaker is just so good. It's like your best card against mono blue because he plays at instant speeds. So you play Tytaker and the game is almost over. When the creature dies, it's good against Chain Wheeler too. Because it dies and puts a tonker, where Adanto you have to pay 4. And Adanto is worse now because there's a lot of white winnies, like the mono blues, even in the mirror is bad. And this card is like really great. You don't have to be afraid of Settle on turn 4. No one is playing Settle, but it's like 5 mana, and Chemistry Insight he has to play on his turn. So this card is really annoying for everyone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The thing is, even in control matchups, even if they play a sweeper, you still get the token. But in creature matchups, it's much better than something like a Vanguard.
much better.
All right, well, makes sense. Moving on to our 3 drops here. Well, some of the best 3 drops in the format. Bnauish Marshal and History of Benalia.
You can say anything about those cards. History, it's like the best 3 drop for sure. Bnauish is good, but History is just busted. Like your best draws involve like History into History for sure because it's too much pressure.
This kind of reminds me of like old standard where it's like Siege Rhino into Siege Rhino. When you draw multiple histories, you're like, well, I can't really lose unless you have a sweeper. I noticed there's one 3 drop that's missing that some decks have played, and that's a card in Unbreakable Formation. What are your thoughts on that card and its inclusion in the main deck?
My thing about Unbreakable Formation is that it's a little polarized. It's the best card in your deck or it's the worst. It's those cards that you draw, it's like the best. In the mirror, it's just the best card ever. Because you can Unbreakable and attack, Indestructible, and then you can even block. So it's the better card. But I didn't want to like polarize my deck. So I chose to not play that 1 or 2 Unbreakable Formation, to play a 4 drop that's almost the same power level and gives me much better matchups against Control and Sultai that I expected to be a little difficult for this deck.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. All right, moving into, I know this is a little bit wild, our big spells. We have, sometimes a free spell, 4 copies of Venerated Loxodon, and as you alluded to, a 4 drop, 1 copy of Ajani. So why Ajani here? I don't really see this that often in these white weenie lists.
I wanted to play 3 Ajanis, but I had 16 cards on my sideboard. You know that problem? You have 16.
I've done that before.
So I'm like, maybe Ajani to the main deck. So I have 15 cards on my sideboard. And then my friend Gonzalo said, Johnny should be better than Unbreakable Formation. I said, then it's settled because I have 16 cards. I don't have to think anymore, so I'm putting a Johnny instead of them Unbreakable.
You know, I'm glad that I'm not the only one who goes, man, I got a 16-card sideboard. Let's try to see if I can jam one into the main deck.
Into the main deck, and now it's perfect.
Right, and I mean, it's a totally reasonable card. This just does it all, and you did add a few more powerful 2-drops as options, so the minus effect is a little stronger.
Even better, yeah.
Okay, well, makes sense, and of course, Venerator locks it down.
Best card in the deck, like, all your net draws is with this card.
Yeah, absolutely. I know even in the beginning, there was a little bit of, people were like, is locks it on great or not great because you have to tap your team. But ultimately...
Yeah, it's too good. The card is just too good.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's like Verder's Geralt for 0 mana.
Yeah, that's a pretty good card. That's a pretty good card. All right, moving into our removal suite, we have 2 copies of Baffling End and 3 copies of Tribunal. Again, a little bit unconventional. A lot of lists usually play 4 copies of Tribunal. Why did you choose to play 2 copies of Baffling End?
When I was testing, and there's a friend of mine, a Brazilian friend, Eduardo Vieira, he said that Baffling End was really good on this meta because sometimes Conclave is a bit clunky if they kill your creatures, and this card is just insane against Mono Blue. When they start with Curious Obsession attack, you just like Baffling End on turn 2, and it's over. In the mirror match, is very good. Against Sultai, it's your best option. Against the Wild Growth Walker, that's a nightmare. Yeah. And you can Conclave on turn 2 the Walker. So this card has been really great for me. So
the only matchup is Control, I guess, but
only Control and Nexus. All the other matchups, the card shines. Against Mono Red, you remove the Steam Kin that you want to remove.
Yeah, so just having access to a 2-mana removal spell, super important because like you said, if you're on the draw, you're not going to be able to Tribunal on turn 2 very often. On top of that, it does also get Hydroid Crisis, right?
True. And that's important.
Yeah, a little extra value here. All right, finishing it off here. Let's take a look at just the mana base here. So Azorius Aggro, we didn't see any blue cards in the main deck, but probably some cool techie blue cards in the sideboard, which explains the Hallowed Fountain. Or maybe you have no blue cards at all.
Yes,
maybe you're just trying to
bluff.
Level people. All right, well, there you have it, folks. Azorius Aggro. Marcio, huge start, 7-1. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
This was Azorius Aggro.